当时我没想那么多。我经过大脑考虑多的话，我也不会发动信息的。当时就是，
无论任何大灾大难，中缺过米吗？缺过吃的给你们吗？因为你一条信息造成社会动乱，大家都去抢米。
好嘞，运不过去的，他们那边不接受，海关不接受，不是要的嘛。我们现在是冬天。
今天呢，想和大家聊一下我自己内心的感受啊。我们很清楚，现在的所有的死难者家属都是被打压的。刚刚晚上我发了一个视频，然后的话呢，就有一个我们的追思亲人群啊，就有一个死难者的群，里面现在有120多位死难者的家属在里面。然后的话，那个群主呢，青山的，今天已经被晚上已经被青山区公安局传唤了。我们的群只是追思亲人互助，然后呢，没有提出任何反党反国家的要求，都只是要为亲人还他们一个公道，讨一个说法。因为当初全世界的人都清楚，当初的起因是你地方政府在隐瞒疫情，然后同时呢还在粉饰太平，同时呢不采取任何的措施，让所有的人麻痹大意，让所有的人没有防护，在所有人没有防备的情况下，还在外面聚集，甚至口罩什么通通都没有，然后的话呢感染了。现在的意识形态和舆论一块的控制已经叫令人发指完完全全不可以有任何的意见。我希望每一个有良知的中国人华人可以去扩散可以去告诉所有的人，这样一些新冠死亡的死难者的家属现在活得多么卑微，活得多么委屈。
之后医院很多职工都不同意，然后就闹得很厉害，然后大家都去那个医院办公室那边要说法。
我们家是这样子的，我们当时多次求助社区，想把我爸爸呢，就是说想把我爸爸送到那个医院去安排住院。
好了，黄埔子出事了啊，特警来了啊，我们上场，弹打穿了啊，你们看看动眼啊，太厉害了，枪动眼的，动眼。
行吧。
他们说为了面子，外国人可以不排队，然后我们在这儿等了这么久。
刘胡兰挺起胸膛说：“要杀要砍有你们，怕死的不是共产党员。”他迎着呼呼的北风，踏着烈士的鲜血，走到铡刀跟前。刘胡兰光荣的牺牲了，差点45岁。
Vladimir Putin meeting Dr. Denis Protsenko 1 week ago to inspect the main hospital in Russia for coronavirus patients. Now, the doctor himself has tested positive for COVID-19. He and the president spent the whole afternoon together in close contact.
Speaking to Japanese lawmakers, the deputy prime minister said the WHO should change its name to the CHO, or China Health Organization. He said being excluded from the global health body, Taiwan was driven to become a world leader in combating the coronavirus.
While at sea, 4,000 American sailors are trapped in place on board an aircraft carrier where 200 have tested positive. The ship's captain sent a memo to the Pentagon pleading for a plan to help his crew.
In the UK, more people died today, too, than any previous day. 381 deaths were recorded, pushing the total to over 1,700. And new data suggests the true death toll could be over 20% higher because official government figures in the UK do not include people who die at home.
I want every American to be prepared for the hard days that lie ahead. We're going to go through a very tough 2 weeks. And then hopefully, as the experts are predicting, as I think a lot of us are predicting after having studied it so hard, you're going to start seeing some real light at the end of the tunnel. But this is going to be a very painful, very, very painful 2 weeks. When you look and see at night the kind of death that's been caused by this invisible enemy, it's incredible. I was watching last night Governor Murphy of New Jersey say 29 people died today, meaning yesterday, and others talking about numbers far greater. But you get to know a state. I know New Jersey so well, and you hear 29 people, and hundreds in other locations, hundreds in other states. And this is going to be a rough 2 week period. As a nation, we face a difficult few weeks as we approach that really important day when we're going to see things get better all of a sudden. And it's going to be like a burst of light, I really think and I hope. Our strength will be tested and our endurance will be tried. But America will answer with love and courage and ironclad resolve. this is the time for all Americans to come together and do our part.
You know, one of the things we have learned over the last month or so is the number of drugs and medical products that we have been getting from China. And then when, you know, there were all the troubles in Wuhan, suddenly we couldn't get those things. And Congressman, you've got a plan to cut down our dependence on things that are critical for life here that come from China.
Yeah, Steve, this is something that I think a lot of the American people are starting to recognize that is a problem we need to address going forward. China, I think something like 97% of our antibiotics come either directly from China or have significant materials that are coming through China. But it's not just China, by the way, right? I mean, India, I think 40% of our generics come from India. And this is something we need to deal with. We've got a piece of legislation we're introducing, I think, this week. We're calling the Beat China Act, but it'll help us with all countries maintaining our ability to produce drugs here in the United States, or at least in our territories and protectorates. For example, we used to manufacture a lot of our drugs in Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico is a United States territory. But that ended about 20-odd years ago because of a tax change. And so we've got legislation that would just simply fix that tax code so that you're treated equally in Puerto Rico as you are even in the domestic and continental United States. And if we do that, we can bring back a lot of the pharmaceutical manufacturing that left Puerto Rico in the early aughts and went offshore and went to China. We need to do some things, and I think some of my colleagues in the House and the Senate, Congressman Gallagher, Senator Cotton, have legislation that would enforce mandates to make sure that we have our manufacturing in the United States. And I'll look at that legislation. I think we need to do a lot of different things. But what I'm trying to do is find ways to incentivize and encourage manufacturers to make these drugs here in the United States or in our territories, where sometimes the price of manufacturing is a lot less than it is in the continental United States. We need to do it because these drugs are imperative for our national security and the well-being of our citizens. Right now, we got to get through this crisis. President's trying to lead us through it. Right. Governor Abbott and other strong leaders are helping us get through the crisis, and we'll keep working to do it. But we got to prepare for the future.
China's communist government ordered Chinese-run companies and Chinese diplomats and Chinese students around the world, including here, to go on a massive buying spree last February. Ordered them to go and buy all the medical gear they could find. And a report by Chinese customs officials has just come to light. It shows the astonishing results of this. From January 24 to February 29, the National Customs there inspected 2.4 billion pieces of protective equipment that have been sent to China, including 2 billion face masks.
That Chinese companies aren't actually at the beck and call of the Communist government, the Communist Party of China, is a falsehood. There are many, many companies operating here. Now, I'm not talking about the Chinese people. I'm not talking about the individuals. No. I'm talking about the companies. They are at the behest, the beck and call of the Chinese government.
Jack, you've got a pretty good perspective on this. You just saw Bloomberg's breaking story. U.S. intelligence is now officially saying they suppressed the information, essentially lied to the President of the United States in all these conversations they had. Give us your perspective of where we stand right now with the Chinese Communist Party and this Wuhan virus, this CCP virus, as we call it.
Well, Steve and everyone, I want to thank you for having me back on War Room Pandemic. You know, I was here for the first episode, and I had hoped that there wouldn't be continuing episodes much longer in through the year of 2020, and yet here we are. It stands as this CCP virus has struck the American soil. Now, what people need to understand that the Communist Party in China, at one point, following SARS, following H1N1, they had begun to set up a fail-safe program within China, because the Chinese scientists knew that they couldn't allow things like this to further destabilize their country. But it was Xi Jinping and his control takeover of the party, his top-down takeover of the party, his scare tactics, his purges that went on throughout the party, his sacking of party leaders, his sacking of anyone that went against him, that went against the image, his implementation of a cult of personality, which he has done, declaring himself, you know, president for life, chairman for life. That is the reason that fail-safe program went down. It was the re-takeover of power, the reassertion of power, the centralization of power in that role of Xi Jinping by the Chinese Communist Party. Look, I think there's a lot of Chinese doctors out there, a lot of frontline healthcare workers, a lot of Chinese families that want to do the right thing. but it's the Chinese Communist Party that's been pushing this down from the start. And you're seeing it now, the trouble that they're having, because even though they can fake these numbers, and of course we know that they're fake, Bloomberg is reporting, of course, that our intelligence knows they're fake. The Chinese knew they had a problem all the way back in November. We're now finding out. But when it comes down to it, they can't lie to the people about who have lost their families in China. They can't lie to the people who know that they've lost loved ones. They know those urns are piling up, and not just in Hubei province, but we can see them there. They can't lie to them, and that's why you're seeing the protests. That's why you're seeing the pushback on the borders of Hubei. And those protests that are going on in the provinces, it's not just Hubei. We're seeing it in Zhejiang. We're seeing it in Hunan. We're seeing it throughout the entire region. They're going to start spreading throughout all of China because this is the system fighting back. This is the people starting to now fight back, not just in Hong Kong, which is the autonomous region, but we're seeing people within China fight back against the CCP, and they're starting to wake up to all of this.
所有曼哈顿第一个最贵的5星级饭店、4季酒店，免费给所有来的护士、志愿者使用；广场酒店免费给。你见中国有一个吗？全中国，武汉有一个吗？免费吃、免费送、免费服务，还按摩，还有按摩功能。5星级啊，一晚上3000到8000的房间啊，竟然在这样的房间里面限制每层有2个负压房间。 负压房间，每一层放2到3个紧急性的心肺机。每大堂里边所有的酒吧、餐厅全部打开，给这些赞助者、医护者全部使用。这是多伟大的国家呀！啊，就这，美国政府说了，哎，你虽然是你不行啊，我得给你钱呐，我得给你这个拨款，不要钱，私人机构不要钱。 美国到现在的赞助者，98%是私人企业，全是自愿的。一个花不完钱的国家，可以印钞票的国家，一个98%的私人企业全力以赴，不惜一切代价来对抗疫情，无私无欲，这是什么样的国家？这是一个有宗教的国家。 你看到现在走出去，在曼哈顿南部、北部，到处是挂在门口，我家有啥随便拿。那个我家有这个扣的大棚的蔬菜，如果需要的请来摘。我从小到大，我听说了2个最美好的世界，一个是共产党给我描绘的，叫实现了共产主义的世界，我在人类没看过啊。然后我信了佛教。 佛教描绘的美好的世界也就是基督教的叫天堂。我这次在美国疫情当中，让我看到2个地方还有一个就是我知道的是，佛教所说的，你干了坏事你就要6道轮回，畜生道也叫地狱共产主义说的，你要当了坏人，你要不遵守共产主义，那你就会生不如死。这是让我看到2个世界。 一个佛教讲的快乐的世界，和我们共产主义所形容的按需所求、按需所拿的共产主义的美好的谎言的乌托邦世界，全在美国看到，就在曼哈顿。